He was safe and functional, and he was a lawyer, not a Sunday soldier. Fuck, he hated that dream. Why couldn't he dream about serial killers stalking him? He was a damn criminal defense attorney. He'd met with some of the creepiest human beings on Earth. Surely he could come up with a few nightmares about them. It would be less disturbing. He glanced at the clock. Barely 5 a.m. on a Saturday. Damn it, he had exactly 2 days to sleep in. Not to not work. He worked 7 days a week, but at least on weekends he got a couple of extra hours of sleep. Everyone knew that. His cell trilled again, the sound not as close in proximity as it should have been. Had he turned the ringer down? His heart seized a little because everyone did know that he slept in, and that meant this was likely an emergency. He scrambled to get to his phone. Where was his phone? He could hear the fucker, but where was it? Why wasn't it sitting on the nightstand where he always put it? What the hell had he done last night? He turned on the lights and walked into the living room where the sound was louder. Yeah, now he remembered. He'd gotten together with friends and ordered takeout to celebrate the end of a case. Margarita and Noah had come to his place. They'd started out by going over the jury polling and ended up drinking way too much tequila. He was too old for that shit. How had he gotten talked into it? And Margarita could seriously drink some tequila. They'd laughed about it the night before. The amount of tequila going into their margarita. Naturally, she'd been the completely steady one. She was the one who directed him to go to bed when it got late, and promised to see Noah home. God, he hoped Noah hadn't hit on her. That was the last thing they needed. Margarita Reyes was one of the single smartest legal minds he'd ever met. She split her time between his New York firm, Garrison, Cormack and Lawless, and the software company 4L, owned by the incredibly wealthy Drew Lawless. David was almost certain Margarita had been initially sent by Drew to watch over the youngest of his siblings, Noah, as he embarked on his career. But 2 years in, she was a part of the team and not someone's watchdog. Either that, or she was a terrible watchdog because she instigated most of the parties. Where the hell was his phone? It had stopped ringing. He was going to feel so damn bad if that was his mother, and something had happened to his dad. With the way things had been going, it could be anything. Since the Alzheimer's had progressed, his father had been known to wander off, thinking it was still the 80s and looking for his toddler son. He hoped things had changed since he'd started paying for a full-time nurse. He would do almost anything to help his mother out. She was aging herself, and he wanted her to enjoy her golden years instead of worrying about a husband who was rapidly forgetting who he was. There was a tapping on his door, lightly, as though the person knocking knew how pissed off New Yorkers could get when something interrupted their weekend sleep. It was Grand Central here this morning. Everyone wanted a piece of him. Without bothering to find a robe, he strode to the door and looked out the peephole. He sighed and started the long process of unlocking the door. Noah stood in the doorway, and David thought seriously about punching him in his perfect nobody can tell I spent the night finding the bottom of a bottle of tequila face. He was dressed in a designer suit, his GQ-ready face all fresh and youthful. David was fairly certain he'd never looked that young in his life. "What? You have any idea what time it is? Did Margarita lose you on the way home? Did you find some model's bed and now you need a place to hide?" The way Noah went through women, it was a plausible scenario. Noah's eyes widened. "Is that any way to greet the man who is about to make your entire year? You said you wanted a big case. I've caught us a whopper. But seriously, you're going to have to wear more than those boxers. Let's get you dressed and moving, my man. I've got a car waiting for us." He strode in, and David closed the door behind him. "What case are you talking about? And can it wait?" "I need to find my phone. I think my mother might be calling." "It was me. I thought I'd warn you I was coming up." Noah set his briefcase down and moved to the kitchen.